It starts like any other morning. You pour yourself a cup of coffee, maybe glance at the paper. But then, without warning, your left hand slips. The cup crashes. You try to speak, but your words slur. You reach for your phone, but your arm won't lift. And suddenly, you realize you're alone. Have you ever thought about what you'd do in that moment? Would you recognize what's happening? Would you know how to save your own life? Every 40 seconds, someone in America has a stroke, and many of them are just like you, at home, alone, without anyone around to help. The clock starts ticking, and every minute that passes, millions of brain cells die. Most advice about stroke assumes someone else will be there, to notice the signs, to call 911, to unlock the door for paramedics. But what if it's just you? Instead of hoping help is nearby, you need to become your own first responder. Because the truth is, time isn't just precious. Time is brain. In this video, we'll walk you through the exact steps that could save your life. If a stroke strikes when you're all by yourself, you'll discover how to spot the hidden signs most people miss. Why your smartphone might be your greatest lifeline. The simple body position that could keep you alive while you wait. And one life-saving move emergency doctors wish everyone knew. Because waiting to see if it gets better could cost you your speech, your movement, or your life. So, stay with me. The next few minutes may be the most important ones you've spent today. This is not just about surviving a stroke. It's about making sure that if it happens to you, you're ready to fight back. A stroke rarely announces itself with fanfare. It doesn't always begin with drama. Sometimes it starts with something as small as your foot feeling asleep, or your coffee cup slipping from your hand. So how can you tell the difference between a moment of clumsiness and a life-threatening emergency? That's why knowing the signs yourself is the first and most powerful weapon you have. Most people know the FAST test, F for face. Can you smile evenly, or does one side droop? A for arms. Can you raise both arms and hold them steady? S for speech. Are your words slurred or hard to understand? AT for time. If any of these are off, it's time to act immediately. But here's something many don't realize. FAST doesn't catch every stroke, especially strokes that affect the back of the brain, what doctors call posterior strokes, where balance, coordination, and vision are often the first to go. That's why medical experts now recommend FAST 4D. It adds these critical signs: dizziness, double vision, drop in balance, and delayed reaction. Imagine feeling suddenly off balance while walking to the bathroom, or seeing two images when you look at the clock. Would you brush it off, or would you recognize it as a possible warning sign? In a recent study, adding these 4 signs increased the chances of correctly identifying a stroke by nearly 15%. That could mean hundreds of thousands of lives every year. But here's the hard truth. Even when people notice the symptoms, many don't act. In one study, over 80% of patients delayed calling for help, even when they recognized something was wrong. Why? Because denial is powerful. Because we want it to be something else. A migraine, a pinched nerve, fatigue. But strokes don't wait for us to figure it out. Instead of saying, maybe it'll go away, say, what if this is serious? Because the earlier you know, the faster you act. And the faster you act, the better your chances. Not just of surviving, but of recovering well. So next time something feels off, don't guess. Don't wait. Check your face. Raise your arms. Speak a sentence. And remember, time is brain. So let's say you've recognized the signs. Your arm is weak, your speech is slurred, something feels deeply wrong. Now what? This is where many people freeze. They sit down. They wait. They hope it goes away. But when it comes to stroke, hope is not a plan. You have 60 seconds to make a decision that could change the rest of your life. This is not the moment to hesitate. Step 1. Call 911 immediately. It sounds obvious, right? But in a stroke, even the obvious becomes hard. Your speech might be garbled. Your fingers might not move. Your brain might be foggy. That's why you need to prepare before anything ever happens. Keep your phone close, not buried in your purse or on the other side of the house. And use voice commands. If you have an iPhone, say, "Hey Siri, call 911." If you use Android, "Okay Google, call 911." Can't speak? Can't move? Try pressing the power button quickly 5 times. Most phones will activate an emergency call. Or use a smart speaker. Alexa, Google Home. They can call for help with the right setup. Don't have any of that? Make noise. Bang on the floor. Knock on the wall. Do whatever it takes to draw attention. If you live in an apartment or duplex, neighbors might hear. If not, those seconds of sound could still help responders locate you when they arrive. And when you do reach a dispatcher, say the word stroke if you can. Even if you're not speaking clearly, trained dispatchers listen for slurred speech and key phrases. They'll know what to do. Also, tell them where you are, and mention if your doors are locked. Letting first responders in quickly can save precious time. Because here's what most people don't know. Even when you call fast, it can take hours to get to a hospital that specializes in stroke. And the treatments that reverse stroke damage, like TPA, only work within a narrow time window. Minutes matter, so don't second-guess yourself. Don't wait to see if it passes. Instead of hoping for the best, prepare for it. Be the one who acts. Because calling fast could save your brain, your speech, your independence, and maybe your life. You've called 911. You've said the word stroke. Help is on the way. But what happens in the next few minutes could still make the difference between a quick recovery and a long, painful road back, or no recovery at all. So here's the part most people don't think about. You need to prepare your space. For the people coming to save you. First, unlock your door. It may sound small, but locked doors can cause delays. Precious minutes are wasted when paramedics have to force their way in. If you're able, get to the front door and unlock it. If you can't walk, consider crawling, or even sliding along the floor if necessary. Next, turn on lights, open curtains. Make your location as visible as possible from the outside, especially if you live in a rural area or a house set back from the road. Can you still move a little? Try to position yourself near the main entry, somewhere visible and accessible. Lying near the front door or in a hallway can make it easier for first responders to reach you quickly. Now think about your medical information. If you've ever prepared a go bag, this is why. Keep a list of your medications in your wallet, purse, or taped to the fridge. Include your medical history, especially if you have high blood pressure, diabetes, or a history of stroke. Write down your doctor's name, your emergency contacts, your allergies. Can't write? Use your phone's notes app. Even a voice memo can help. What about pets? If you have dogs or cats that might get in the way, secure them in another room if you can. The last thing you want is a barking dog blocking the paramedics when they arrive. And look around the room. Is there clutter in the way? Shoes, chairs, narrow spaces. If you have just enough strength, clear a small path to where you're lying. That could be the space they need to bring in a stretcher or life-saving equipment. If you're cooking when it happens, turn off the stove. That single act could prevent a fire. None of this is easy in the middle of a stroke, but even one or two of these steps can make a big difference. Instead of being caught off guard, think of this as building a bridge between you and the people coming to save you. You may be alone, but you're not helpless. You're preparing to survive. Now that help is on its way, and you've done everything you can to prepare your surroundings, there's one more thing that could quietly make a life-saving difference. Your body position. It's something most people never think about, but how you lie, how you breathe, even how your head is tilted can affect how your brain handles what's happening. So, if you're starting to feel dizzy, weak, or if your balance is off, don't try to stand. Don't force yourself into a chair or make your way to the bedroom. Trying to move could cause a fall, a head injury, or even worse, make the stroke damage more severe. Instead, lower yourself to the ground slowly. Lie down on your side. This is known as the recovery position. Why on your side? Because if you vomit, or if your muscles weaken further, it helps keep your airway clear. It lowers the risk of choking or losing consciousness without enough oxygen. Bend your top leg for balance. Place your lower arm under your head, or use a small cushion to slightly raise your head. That gentle elevation can reduce pressure in the brain, especially for certain types of strokes. But be careful, not too high. We're not stacking pillows, just enough to support you. Now loosen any tight clothing, collars, belts, anything around your chest or waist. Let your body breathe. And one important thing, don't eat. Don't drink. Even water can be dangerous during a stroke. Your ability to swallow may already be impaired, and choking is a real risk. Also, if doctors need to administer medication or surgery, having food in your system could limit your options. Feeling cold? Pull a light blanket over yourself, but avoid overheating. Your body may have trouble regulating temperature during a stroke, so comfort, not heat, is the goal. Finally, try to stay calm. Yes, that's a tall order when your body isn't cooperating. But stress raises your blood pressure, and high pressure can worsen stroke damage. Breathe in slowly. Out even slower. Instead of panicking, focus on this. You've taken control. You've recognized the signs. You've called for help. And now, by lying in the safest position possible, you're buying yourself time and protecting your brain. You've called for help. You're lying safely. And now, while the minutes tick by, there's one more thing you can do that could help doctors save your brain. Document your symptoms. Now you might be thinking, really? While I'm having a stroke? But this isn't about filling out forms. It's about remembering one simple detail. When did it start? That moment. When you first felt off. When your arm tingled. When your words got stuck. That time is crucial. Because treatments like TPA, the clot-busting drug, only work if given within a narrow window. Roughly 4.5 hours from the onset of symptoms. Not from when you called 911. Not from when the ambulance arrives. From the very first moment your body started changing. So how do you capture that, especially when you may not be able to write? Use your voice. Open the voice recorder on your phone and say, I started feeling symptoms at 9:42 a.m. My left hand went numb first. Then I slurred my words. I called 911 at 9:45. If you can't find the app, just use the camera and record a video of yourself talking. Even a rough recording is better than nothing. And keep tracking. Has anything gotten worse? Is the numbness spreading? Has your speech changed? Are you getting drowsy or disoriented? If you can, set a timer on your phone to go off every few minutes. Not only does that help you stay aware, but if you do lose consciousness, it may alert someone nearby, or even wake you slightly when the sound goes off. Also, be sure to mention any medication you've taken recently, especially blood thinners, aspirin, or anything for blood pressure or heart conditions, because the more accurate information doctors have when you arrive, the faster they can act. And when you're having a stroke, faster means better chances of recovery and fewer lasting effects. Instead of waiting helplessly, you're giving the medical team a head start. You're handing them the puzzle pieces they need before they even walk in the room. And that just might make all the difference. Surviving a stroke is only the beginning. What comes next, the days, weeks, and even years after, can be just as challenging. But here's the good news. The brain is resilient. And with the right support, many people regain more function than they ever thought possible. So what can you expect after a stroke? First, the hospital phase. Once you're admitted, doctors will work quickly to determine what type of stroke you had. Most strokes, about 87%, are ischemic, caused by a clot. If you received a clot-busting drug like TPA early enough, some of your symptoms might improve within hours. If not, there may be more damage. But that doesn't mean it's permanent. You'll likely undergo scans, blood work, and observation. Then, the real work begins, recovery. This often includes physical therapy to help you walk again, speech therapy if your words were affected, and occupational therapy to relearn basic daily activities. Recovery can feel slow, frustrating, and some days you might wonder if you'll ever feel like yourself again. But here's what many stroke survivors say. Every small gain matters. Being able to button a shirt, hold a fork, speak clearly enough to say, "I love you." These aren't just wins. They're victories over something that tried to take your life. And while recovery is personal, prevention is universal. The best way to survive another stroke is to never have one. That means knowing and managing your risk factors. Do you have high blood pressure? Take your medication every day without fail. Don't skip just because you feel fine. Do you have high cholesterol or diabetes? Follow up with your doctor regularly. Make the lifestyle changes you can, however small. Do you smoke? Now is the time to quit. Even after a stroke, quitting can significantly reduce your chances of having another. And if you're over 60 and living alone, consider using medical alert devices or apps that check in on you. They might feel unnecessary until the day they aren't. Also, talk to your doctor about aspirin. It's not for everyone, especially if you're already on blood thinners. But for some people, a low-dose aspirin each day can reduce clot risk. Ask. Don't assume. And remember this. Recovery isn't about going back to who you were. It's about learning how to be strong in the face of what happened. It's about building habits that protect your brain, support your body, and give you peace of mind. Instead of fearing what might happen next, you'll know you're doing everything you can to make sure it doesn't. Because surviving a stroke isn't the end of your story. It's a second chance to write a new one. With clarity, with strength, and with purpose. So now you know what to do. From the first sign, to the first breath, to the first call. You're not just hoping anymore, you're prepared. And maybe that's the most powerful shift of all. Instead of being frozen in fear, you'll know how to act. Instead of wondering, what if, you'll be ready to say, I've got this. But here's something else you should know. You don't have to face any of this alone. If you're someone who's lived through a stroke, if you've ever worried about being home alone with no one to help, if you've lost someone you love to a stroke, and wish you knew then what you know now, we want to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell us your story. Not just for us, but for the thousands of people who will read it and feel just a little less alone. This community is more than a channel. It's a lifeline. And if you'd like to be part of something that supports you in staying informed, staying strong, and staying connected, consider becoming a channel member. You'll get early access to new videos, priority replies to your comments, and a front row seat in a community that values your health and your voice. Because sometimes the most powerful thing we can do for each other is simply to show up. If this video helped you, type yes in the comments. And don't stop here. Watch our next video on how to survive a heart attack when no one's around. Because knowledge doesn't just save lives, it changes them. Thank you for watching. And remember, you're stronger, smarter, and more capable than you think.